that, and this one life and that one life. But today is no different. I'll introduce the topic shortly after introducing my guest, Mr. Patrick Uduma, the convener of StandOut. Good morning, Mr. Patrick.
Hi, Sammy. Good morning, and good morning, our listeners.
How you doing?
I'm doing very well, and you?
Wonderful. How has your week been?
Yeah, learning and unlearning.
Okay.
Get it better.
Any highlights from this week?
Yeah, just amazing how our country is losing value of what we're known for. Sammy, I did ever call to you that Nigeria would have been a hub of Africa.
Are you kidding
where
me?
every aircraft have to drop to Nigeria before they would drop in Ghana or drop in everywhere.
We have what it takes to be everything, really.
And we have what it takes to be everything.
We do. It's truly sad, but hopefully, we're a work
So
in
what's
progress.
stopping us?
It's not something you can put in one sentence. You know, it's a lot of
I
things.
think we lack consistency of value.
That's a way to summarize it. I would double click on it and say a lot of things, but yeah, that's a nice way to coin it. So life stoppers.
Life stoppers.
That's what we're looking at today.
Yes.
What does it mean?
You're supposed to be unstoppable if you own your life and choose how to engage life.
All right.
And that's part of what we are doing here is for you to stop reacting to life. When you react to life, you lose more energy. When you engage life, you choose how to utilize your energy and direct it well.
Okay.
So, life stoppers. Grace find goodness in everything. And in StandOut, we'll talk so much about goodness, dwelling in goodness. It's part of that value system that you're entrenched to engage life. Now, grace find beauty in everything. Grace makes beauty out of ugly things. So, I read a particular scripture written down in the book of Hebrews chapter 1. It says, as for us, we have all of these great witnesses who encircled us like cloud. So we must let go, mark the word, let go of every wound that has pierced us. And disorder, I always change sin to disorder. So we so easily fell into. Then we will be able to run life's marathon race with passion. I like the word run, is a marathon. With passion and determination. For the path has been already marked out before us. We look away from the natural realm and focus our attention and expectation onto Jesus, who bettered faith within us and who led us forward. Is always about forward in faith perfection. His example is this: because his heart was focused on the joy of knowing that you will be his, he endured the agony of the cross and conquered its humiliation, and now sit exalted at the right hand of the throne of God. So consider carefully how Jesus faced intense opposition. What are those opposition? That's what we want to look at.
All right.
So what is the concept of SSS? It's a concept of I so much cherish. It's a concept of source. Some of you are determined everything have a source. Your phone has a source where you charge it.
That's right.
And so when you do that connection, what happened? The attribute of the source is emptied onto the phone. And now it is the attribute that the phone uses to express itself, which is in service, right?
Yeah.
So you have a source, you have self, and you have service. So let's assume your source is anger or hurt or wound or certain experiences. That's you'll be the first to experience it. And most likely, you are going to express what is inside of you externally.
Truly.
So that's why source, self, and service. So it's important for you to understand what is influencing your life condition. So that will help you how you interact or how you serve. Because you cannot serve what is not inside.
Truly.
Okay, so the concept of SSS, source, self, and service, the key factor in owning yourself. Your wellness in relationship with the source. For me, it's Christ, really. So I'm plugged onto Christ.
Okay.
I don't know, you can plug onto anything you want to plug on. So I get the attribute of Christ. I get his integrity. I get his personality so infused inside of me. So I experience it as a person. And I'm also going to act outside within that source. So self-ownership is governed by acknowledging who your life is shaped from. You know, your mom can be a source of how your life is shaped.
Yeah.
Or your boss, or probably like a star, or maybe like one of your mentors can shape you, right? Because our life is shaped by whom we express our focus, what they call the focus will onto. So, how do I know? Romans 6:16 say, don't you realize that grace frees you to choose your own master?
Say that again.
Don't you realize that grace frees you to choose your own master? So it means that you choose your master. You can't say something is, like people said, this controlling my habits. You choose it.
Yeah.
Yeah? And it started from one source. Maybe you went for a party and you heard something and you give it attention. Your will now interacted with that, discussion, and now you internalize it. Now you're utilizing it as a benefit. That's how you're going to be. But choose carefully, for you surrender yourself to become a servant born to one who you choose to obey. If you choose to love disorder, it will become your master, and it will own you and reward you with the debt, depression, frustration, slave, bad habits, unhappiness, unsatisfied, life, and limitation. But if you choose to love and obey God, He will lead you to a perfect righteousness. So it's a choice to own our master. Now, the unstoppable approach of living is when you recognize the life stoppers. And that's those life stoppers we're going to check. And number one life stopper is the inside argument, disagreement. So let me paint a picture. Have you seen a young man, right, who agreed with himself? He's not married, right? And now he believe in himself, believe in his dream, believe in the people, and believe in God.
Yeah.
So when he has an idea, he executes it unhindered. Then he got to marry a young woman who opposes those ideas. You know that he will start struggling. And that's why some people say, this one is a witch. It's not a witch. It's a conflict of belief system that do not align. So once they don't align, you see, like, I'm struggling. Let's say, for instance, I wake up and say I was going to give you 1,000 naira now, and I feel good about it. Now, I have a partner who don't believe in that. I start struggling, and I start losing confidence.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So that argument, internal argument,
It dissuades you.
It dissuades you.
Yeah.
Now you are now divided, but before you can do it, right? So I just wanted to use that to explain what they call the inside argument. Being undecided makes you become like the rough sea, driven towards and through by the winds. You are up 1 minute and you're toes down the next. When you are half-hearted and wavering, it leaves you unstable. That's what creates what they call the doubtful personality. Because now, doubtful personality is where you've not dealt with experiences within you, undealt experiences, bad experiences. People internalize bad experience, unconscious to them, it becomes a limiter. Now, because they wanted to create a defense mechanism, and now they internalize that. So, it brings you to what they call oppressive thought. Oppressive thought are those thoughts on your head. That head, what is on your head. You want to do something, but that oppressive thought will just tell you why you can't do that. And you think that oppressive thought is working for you, but it's working against you, which will misrepresent an opinion or a viewpoint. And disbelief, self-doubt, and fear. That's what we call, that's the first one, the internal argument. Now, the second one is the unspoken word. Let me tell you about spoken word. Have you been in a relationship with your boss or anyone? They don't speak to you, but they speak more. My father used to be that way. My father would just get into the house. He can't say what, but he's speaking.
Yeah.
As soon as he stepped in here, In fact, it's better that he has spoken so that you will know, but his silence.
Silence is loud.
And that's also what is happening in relationship. Now, because there are arguments on the head that create an unspoken word, or probably you've been speaking and the person is not listening again or is not acting. So you now say, anything I say, he won't take it. So it builds up unspoken word. Most often, the words spoken are most significant ones that should have been said. Spoken words are much better than those locked up within the heart. Unspoken words keep struggling to find expression, which often create negative images, feelings in the mind, leading to suppression. Unspoken words hurt. They create emotional, strenuous, and stress. They provoke untold philosophical trauma. It brings about baggage emotion. They breed anger, resentment, and rift. They create negative energy, and they conceal your true original self. Then I'll have what they call the language matrix. With words, are life created. Do not use harmful words, but only helpful words. The kind that build up and provide what is needed, so that what you say will do good to those who hear you. There are two kinds of words that we use. We have what they call descriptive language and what we call generative language. Descriptive language, you know how you know people who have descriptive language, they start with sighing.
Okay.
They start with sighing, and now once a man starts with sighing, you find out that he wants to describe certain events. They are not creative. They're never creative. Have you ever seen people who want to beg you for something? It's going to come from a demeaned or devalued personality. That's what they call descriptive language. They have to find a way to describe and paint it to be bad. That's a stopper. I'm not saying not recognizing humility. Humility is not losing yourself in begging or asking for. Humility is recognizing yourself because you deserve good thing. And people who does that because they can't afford to give other people. If you're in a position of giving, you know that it's a cycle of life. So there's the attitude that you're going to get. So now the language stopper so strong that one can recognize them. Your unstoppable life is as 10 on. I like this one. The performance influence. You are rewarded by what you do. What you do, it's so significant to your unstoppable life. What affects your performance is basically how things occur to you. Your outlook, your belief in it, and your attainment. And the last one is what they call the effect allowance. Now, what is effect allowance? Effect allowance is how you allow the external stoppers to access your center of life heart. So above all, guard the affection of your heart, for they affect all that you are. Pay attention to the welfare of your innermost being, for from there flows the wellspring of life. Can two walk together except to be in agreement? Don't agree with the stoppers externally, especially those who profess they are better than you. And now how you interact with them would determine how you're going to utilize the stoppers. So we're saying challenge the status quo. Challenge the conclusion. Redefine the standard of your stoppers. Refrain from the past. Embrace your promises. Dwell in goodness. Above all, stand out from your stoppers.
All right. Okay. Life stoppers. You're supposed to be unstoppable if you engage life. Grace finds beauty and goodness in everything. Of course, the captivating concept for me was SSS, Source Self Service. It is important to understand what is influencing your decisions. Our life is expressed by who expresses our focus. Grace frees you to choose your own master. That's a profound statement. You become a servant bound to who you choose to obey. Of course, the life stoppers, we have the internal argument, doubtful personality, unspoken words. Unspoken words breed hurt, breed anger, resentment, and rift. Do not use harmful but helpful words. Pay attention to the welfare of your innermost being and redefine the standards of your stoppers. Now let's look at the SSS, which you've explained beautifully. Your source is responsible for most of the things that happen along the way. Just like the phone you use as example, you plug it to a source, it charges it, but there's a point where the battery is failed and you unplug. Is there a time to unplug from your source? Is it possible to get so much from that source and there is a time where you literally have to unplug because you are saturated?
The thing about source and service, you unplug to experience the attribute of your source.
Okay.
So you have to experience it because that's what it is. Okay, so you have a vehicle. If you fill the tank, you have to express the vehicle.
Yeah.
And the power of the vehicle and what is powering it. It is the source of the engine.
Okay.
Do you understand? So the engine will be useless except it's expressed. And the beauty of it is because it is designed to express itself.
So as you express and you deplete,
then you plug back.
You plug back.
You plug back.
Okay, so that's kind of relationship.
That's kind of relationship.
Okay.
So now this is Sammy, this is the problem. We don't really sit down to understand our source or the attribute of our source, whether they are believable or unbelievable. So why will I allow somebody who I'm not discounting people's giftings. Maybe, for instance, you are prophesying to me on the riches.
Okay.
And you are begging me.
I did not see that coming. Okay. That's a good one.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
But if you are that source, even though you don't have as much as this, there are principles that governs you, that brings you that contentment, that makes you believable. Don't say, I'm not saying there are people who will not give you principle, but I believe you're giving me a principle, you're also practicing it.
Yeah.
You are that. Do you understand?
You should be a reflection
of the
prophecy.
Whether it is in a context of other thing that expresses yourself, because you should be in certain dimension, but I should be able to see that expression.
Okay.
So now, if you begin to understand your source, let's say, for instance, when I started talking about goodness, I understand my source as good.
Okay.
Now I'm experiencing good, and part of my decision is that anyone who encounters me will know I've been supercharged with goodness. In my speech, in my respect, in my kindness, in my order of life, in my disposition to you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, so what happened is that experience speaks faster than words.
True. Very true.
Now, meanwhile, my word was supposed to create me experience, not the experience giving me words.
Okay. We'll have to. After the show, let me go and plug to my source so that I don't run out. What's happening with StandOut?
So I'm excited about Refrain. Why are you saying that? It's amazing. Sammy, you cannot hate a nation and expect that nation to deliver you love. You can't speak against a nation and dishonor a nation, and that nation will honor you. We are talking down on a nation and giving up a nation. Why do you think that nation will not give you up as well? So I think it's important we do a proper reflection, especially our generation.
Yeah.
So how we speak to our nation, how we relate to our nation, they are very key.
Interesting.
So, of course, that's why it was leading us to what we call reboot.
Okay.
Next StandOut is called reboot. We want to reboot our thing. Something is hanging. So let's say the Nigerian is hanging.
Yeah.
So we need to do a reboot system.
Wonderful.
To choose, like we said, where we can go, find out our stoppers, and be able to reinvent ourselves into a good Nigeria.
All right. Are there any events this weekend?
No event this weekend.
Okay.
But you can go to our website to find out, previous edition of what we're doing, so you can, relearn and keep hearing them.
All right. Well, as always, thank you very much, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you, Sammy.
For those who'd like to connect with you,
08033 411 451. 08033 411 451.
All right, and it's So I Stand Out on all social media.
So I stand out in all social media. Yeah.
Have yourself a wonderful day.
You too, Sammy. Enjoy your.
Coming up.